Alright, and we are back. Sorry about that pause. I had to step away and grab some food, but we're already into this one. I will cover the bans here once I'm able to get that, but this looks like we are into the Nomad 1. I do think this is probably a Swick pick, I have to guess. This one's going to be between the Swick and PikaPwn, Swick being hotdog2000, if you are not familiar with that name. You probably do not watch the tournament scene too often. Nomad 1, first pick. This one's going to be PikaPwn's pick, actually, so pretty interesting one here. It's going to be a complete even accuracy. For the time being, light advantage for Swick, but now it's going to be an advantage towards PikaPwn as Swick finds a miss right before this PI section here. Maybe the note right before the pause, and I think it's a pretty sizable lead for PikaPwn to start this one off. Both players holding on to their combo. A little bit of an act drop from Swick, but with PikaPwn holding on to the FC still, that score lead is going to continue to climb in favor of them. Crossing over the halfway mark, gonna need to see a couple more mistakes here from PikaPwn if Swick's once away back into this, but 100,000 points is gonna be pretty tough ask from Swick finding the miss earlier on. Especially gonna have to FC the remainder of the map. He does have the accuracy for it. But the further that PikaPwn is able to push this combo lead, the further away this chances of Swick getting this point good for him. As Swick finds yet another miss here in the second PI section. Finding a break on the aim. And that's almost certainly going to be the point for PikaPwn. Not even almost certainly. Certainly going to be the point for PikaPwn. I think we can be pretty definitive here in that statement. Now the question is, will we be seeing a full combo on this Nomad 1 pick from PikaPwn? An FC to start off on your first pick in the match against somebody who is regarded as one of the best game players in the tournament would be pretty insane, but does not find the full combo. However, 40,000 points is going to be way more than enough for PikaPwn to win this, and yeah, might be kicking himself a little bit for not getting the full combo, but this is going to be a very nice point to start this match off here for PikaPwn. Yeah, pretty decisive one at that. Couple of unfortunate misses from Swick, but in the end, it's going to be a much lower miss count from PikaPwn. And yeah, 1x miss versus the 5x here. DT2 is going to be the answer, and I am going to be pulling up the sheet for the bans here. Just so we can get you all notified. It looks like it was a hidden 2 ban from Swick and a DT4 ban from PikaPwn, so not going to be seeing either of those 2 maps, but we're already into the second map of this match. A pretty quick start to this one here on this DT2 pick from, or wait, is this DT2? DT3? Let me double check. I am so sorry, I have pizza in front of my face and I am hungry. DT2 pick here from Swick, and yeah, these 2 players are pretty comfortable at DT. I think Swick is going to continue to pick in the DT pool. But it's going to be PikaPwn finding the first miss here, looking a little bit more shaky on these streams, but Swick does end up trading it out shortly after, so that's going to put a stop to the score lead for the time being, and finding some chain misses as well is not going to help him out. But yeah, we saw in the previous match this pick getting chosen, and both players kind of struggling on the accuracy, struggling on the combo, but we're seeing a similar look here. This one seeming to be taking both of these two players' combos away very quickly, and the accuracy as well is looking pretty rough for both of them. Despite Swick having the highest accuracy, it's still only just barely 93.5%, and PikaPwn finding some more misses is not going to be helping him out, especially with how short this map is. It's going to be a point for Swick already. 130,000 points is way too much, and yeah, PikaPwn just looking so uncomfortable here on this type of BPM and this type of tapping here. Really strong first pick from PikaPwn, answered by a really strong first pick from Swick here. I'm going to be getting himself a point on the board. Starting in the same fashion as we saw in the previous match, we didn't see any player deviate from winning their own picks until I believe it was the fourth pick from one of the two players in the last match, so wonder if we will be seeing a similar story here. And yeah, stark difference in accuracy from these two players, right? The A rank from Swick and the C rank from PikaPwn, and a massive amount more of misses from PikaPwn. Really just shows how much more comfortable Swick is on this style of tapping here in the DT2. And for Swick, that's good news. That means that the Nomad 5 looks pretty enticing. That means that the DT3 could potentially be good. DT3, of course, having a lot less tapping than the DT2, but still a decent amount. That Nomad 5 and maybe even something like the Nomad 2 are pretty solid choices here for second picks from Swick, but now it's going to be a choice of a second pick from PikaPwn, and not really sure where he wants to go off of that Nomad 1 win. Could go for something like the Hard Rock 1, but no, it's actually going to be the Nomad 2. Still going to be airing on the side of these streams, but going to be a lot less of a BPM difference here for these maps. Going down from 255 to 210, a lot more reasonable for PikaPwn to be playing. And yeah, these players are quick on the gun for readying up once the map has been chosen. Always love to see that. Makes it so that the match kind of goes a little bit quicker. But so far, both players have won on their own picks. And PikaPwn, despite knowing that this is another map that Swick could perform well on, does end up picking into it. Now, PikaPwn did find a very early miss to start this one off. Only going to be down by about 30 combo, not really going to make that much of a difference, if any at all. Is actually holding on to a bit of an accuracy advantage here as we get into some of these longer streams, and this one's got some pretty long streams in it. Both players look so comfortable here on this 210 BPM. Despite the spacing being so variable, but Swick finds such a massive chain miss, misses the entire end of that stream, and goes from 99.3 down to 92.5 in a blink of an eye. And that's a massive score advantage for PikaPwn now, holding on to the FC still. Swick's going to need to see a complete disaster from PikaPwn, but this is kind of the free combo section of this map before we get into more of these longer streams, and this is looking really bad for Swick here. Swick missing on the beginning of that stream makes it so that he doesn't hit the entirety of the rest of the stream. And really just struggling here. It's coming down to the aim, as weird as that sounds. They're both being able to tap it, but PikaPwn is aiming these streams so much more consistently, so much more fluidly, and Swick is just not able to hold on. Now, PikaPwn does finally end up missing. Not going to be seeing a full combo here from PikaPwn, but still going to be seeing such an insane score gap for PikaPwn on his second pick. What an insane way to start this match. So unfortunate. We don't see the full combo from PikaPwn, but nearly one. I do think this is going to be another 1x miss from PikaPwn. 2x. Yeah, looking so comfortable on all of his own picks so far. Now for Swick, you have to imagine it's either the Nomad 5 or the DT3, and it looks like it's already been chosen. DT3 is the option here, which does give PikaPwn the opportunity to ban the Nomad 5. Swick has notoriously picked primarily into the DT pool throughout this tournament. Normally does pretty good at picking into the DT pool as well. Even if his opponents are DT players or able to match him, but right now PikaPwn not able to do just that. Dropping combo first and gonna be finding another miss shortly after, so that's gonna give Swick a pretty quick score advantage because this is another short map here, 2 minutes 27 seconds, and yeah, these guys are just rapid firing their picks and rapid firing these shorter picks as well, so match is going quite fast, but these short picks are gonna start to go by the wayside as we get with less and less maps in the pool available to these players. Right now, it's PikaPwn the one struggling, and Swick the one who's prospering here in these DT picks. And yeah, maybe PikaPwn actually doesn't leave open, or excuse me, maybe PikaPwn leaves open the Nomad 5. And maybe he actually bans out one of the other DTs because giving Swick the option of either of the other two DTs is maybe not the best idea, given how comfortable and solid he's looking right now on these two DTs that we've seen. Yeah, this is most certainly going to be the point for Swick. No questions about that. It's only halfway through the map. It's going to be a matter of how long can he hold on, though. And Swick pretty much already knows that this one is his point. Just has to lock in for the FC. Pretty good recovery from PikaPwn as well, but gonna be way too little too late here. No, but it's gonna be a miss from Swick. Unfortunate miss aim on the stream burst pattern. But still, all of these points for both of these two players have been so decisive one way or the other. And yeah, Swick answering right back with a decisive victory on this CT3 after that Nomad 2 decisive victory from PikaPwn. And 2-2 is the scoreline. These two players looking really solid on their own picks. And a lot less of a miscount here on this DT3 from PikaPwn. Was able to net himself a pretty solid score at that 600,000, but yeah, Swick just doing that much more and looking that much more confident. Hidden 3 is going to be the ban from Swick. Not going to allow that one on the table. Gonna get to see that one pick last match. Definitely won't be seeing it pick this match. PikaPwn has a tough choice here. He either bans out the last DT, or he bans out the Nomad 5. Oh wait, no! Excuse me, all of the DTs are gone now, right? Or no, the DT one is still available. Excuse me. I am enjoying my food and not paying too much attention to this match. Yeah, either the DT1 or the Nomad 5. do you think are the most likely candidates for a ban from PikaPwn? It's actually going to be the Hard Rock 4 ban here. Leaving open the Nomad 5 against Swick, who looked so good on that DT2. That is a scary choice for PikaPwn. But it is going to be PikaPwn's choice for the next map. Not really sure where they're going to go next. Started us off with the Nomad 1, then went into the Nomad 2. It's gonna be the Hard Rock 1, not gonna continue with the 1, 2, 3 into the Nomad 3. I love VTubers. Map number 5 here for these players. On the Hidden 1. Or excuse me, Hard Rock 1. I kept saying Hidden, I think. But PikaPwn gonna be finding the first miss here on this beginning section. It's gonna give Swick a little bit of a score advantage. Just slightly. And this being in the first 10 notes of the map doesn't really make that big of a difference in the end of the day, but this map is just under 4 minutes, and it'll be the longest map we've seen picked so far here. Features a lot of these big space jumps, all these back and forths here. Both players do hold on to their combos, but this is going to be the solo section. They hit the space stream, and they hit the upside down bunny, but it's going to be PikaPwn missing on the jumps shortly after, so that's going to give Swick that much more of an advantage here. Finally ends up dropping the combo as Swick, so a little bit of a sigh of relief from PikaPwn. 30,000 points is very easy to get back, but it's going to be trades here on the space first pattern here for these players. Trades will always benefit the player in the lead at the current time. That accuracy advantage is doing pretty good work here for Swick. It's about 99% versus 97.5 for PikaPwn, and PikaPwn finding a miss here on this kind of back and forth section is not great, but Swick does end up trading it, so yeah, Swick has these opportunities to really run away with the score, but just is finding misses, unfortunate timings, but PikaPwn finding that many more mistakes, and yeah, Swick is holding on to 55,000 points and some change here. Plenty of time for either of these two players to make another mistake here. That's going to be the end of the slowdown section. Right back into some of these big jump patterns. Pretty linear patterns, too. Holding onto their combo are both of these players pretty dead even on the combo, but that's going to be a miss from PikaPwn. Now does get traded out by Swick, who has consistently been finding the miss shortly after when PikaPwn finds one, and that's still going to be Swick holding onto the score lead, but now the combo advantage is in favor of PikaPwn, has a chance to get it back, but ends up missing. Swick is holding on to combos, only 70,000 points, but I think this is going to be it for Swick. I do think Swick is going to get the first breakpoint of this match. definitely going to be the first breakpoint of this match as these players end up trading on the end. 80,000 points, not enough time, and both players hitting that in stream. One of the hardest streams of the map. Really impressive to see them both hit that, but unfortunately for PikaPwn, that is going to be him dropping the point, and that's going to be Swick starting this one off with the first breakpoint here. 3-2. Gonna try to consolidate. I was expecting something like the Nomad 5 to get picked from Swick, but it's actually going to be the Nomad 6, he says, for Bashi Man. Shoutouts to Bashi Man on this wonderful guest fifth here. We are the Japanese Goblin. I don't know the actual song name. I think it's Saigetsu something. But, yeah, we are the Japanese Goblin. And this one is really mean, especially if you have not practiced this. This map, in particular, will be very brutal to anyone who does not put in the time and effort to learn this map. We're gonna see how practiced these two players are. Don't think this is necessarily a troll pick from Swick by any means. I do think Swick is definitely a player who does put in the time and effort to learn maps that are particularly gimmick heavy, but PikaPwn also looking pretty solid so far. Slight accuracy advantage for the way of Swick. But that combo advantage is going to be the way of PikaPwn as Swick finds the first miss, and the accuracy is not going to do anything for him. However, PikaPwn never actually got the score lead, and now with that miss, that's going to keep the score in favor of Swick for the time being, but it's going to be a trade shortly after from Swick, so these players are just continuing on the trend of the last map that we just saw. One player misses, the other one misses. One player misses, the other one misses, so we're going to come down to whichever player is going to be able to lock in here. We're into these 1/3 sections, and PikaPwn is going to be the one finding the miss on some of these particularly nasty slider strings, and Swick does not end up hitting the reverse slider, but still holding on to the score advantage just for the time being. 30,000 points, now up to 40,000. Right now, it's Swick holding on to the score lead still. Does end up finding a miss right before the slowdown section. That's pretty much just about like 40 free combo here. Maybe a bit more than that, as PikaPwn is clawing that score lead back. Only down to 25,000 now. But both players going to be finding trades, and again, when a trade occurs, it only benefits the player with the score lead, and yeah, they keep finding these trades. It's so close, though. Any major combos for either of these two players could really pull that score lead one way or the other, but right now, neither player is able to put much together. Right now, 150 combo is the one to beat here for PikaPwn. Gonna have to get a bit more combo put together. Gonna have to hope for more misses from Swick. Else this one's gonna get out of hand, out of control, too fast for PikaPwn to handle. Yet another slider stream section, and Swick is hitting these patterns. What I think is the highest combo we've seen so far in this match finally ends up falling at about 320 combo. Yeah, 80,000 points. With a quarter of the map left, most maps that would be comebackable, but I think in a map like this, Nomad 6, I do think that this one is going to be a consolidation on the breakpoint for Swick. Actually finding misses here in this end solo section. Does end up trading, finally drops that recovery combo. But yeah, this is going to be another point on the board for Swick, and one's starting to get out of control for PikaPwn. Cannot afford to give any more points the way of Swick. At least not your own picks. Yep, Swick closing that one out. Going to be making things a little bit interesting here, 4-2. Still has that No Mod 5 in his pocket. Do expect that one to get picked eventually. It's PikaPwn picking it. Okay. Maybe it was the AR that was the difficulty for PikaPwn on the DT2, but I do want to say this is maybe a blunder pick from PikaPwn. Very interesting one. I was not prepared for this, but we'll see how he does on this. So it features about the same length of streams as that DT2. Just with the caveat that the AR is not 10.4. We got a just a quick little MP abort. I think Swick probably had the wrong skin on or something. Exited the lobby. Now we are going to get into it. Already starting this one off. Better accuracy for PikaPwn from what we saw on the DT2. Is going to find the first miss, as well as a full slew of accuracy drop. And that's going to be a pretty huge score advantage for Swick for the time being. Does look a lot more comfortable on this No Mod 5 versus the DT2, but I can't still help but feel like this pick was a blunder from PikaPwn. Right now, Swick looking really solid, holding on to 99.1% accuracy through these jump sections, which are more or less the free combo of this map. Map is split up into varying sections of these longer burst patterns, but here we get into the next screen burst pattern. Recoveries are there for PikaPwn. Now ends up finding a miss right on the last scream of that pattern, that section. That's gonna be Swick really starting to run away with this. 120,000 points halfway through, and PikaPwn finding more misses is not gonna be helping his case. He's gonna need to see some misses of Swick now, and he's gonna really have to lock in for the rest of this map, or else this one's gonna be another break point for the Wave Swick. Looking really solid so far, still holding on to that 99.46. Here's the triangle. Neither player's getting caught up on that section, but the streams that are the difficult part, and we have seen misses on these slider jumps. Will we see any misses here today from these two players on these slider jumps? Very easy to slider break on these patterns. Right now, it's 300,000 points separating these two players, and PikaPwn's gonna need a miss from Swick right now, and that miss from PikaPwn is almost certainly gonna seal the deal, and that is the miss from Swick, but it's way too little too late. PikaPwn has no combo, he has the worst accuracy, he has the worst score right now, and it's just not gonna be enough for this pick, and yeah, quite a blunder from him as well on this No Mod 5. You had to imagine this was gonna get picked from Swick very shortly, after whatever PikaPwn's next pick was going to be, but him picking the No Mod 5 just feels kind of a bit of a lost cause here for him. Like, really just pulling through with these massive score lead. Yeah, I don't fully understand why he would want to go with this No Mod 5. Yeah, maybe, as Ethan Trix has mentioned in chat, maybe he's just picking Swick's picks to force Swick to pick PikaPwn's picks. Give us a little bit of a cinema. That is going to be another breakpoint for Swick, and a scary one to give away at that, because if Swick's able to consolidate on the breakpoint again, as we saw him able to do on the previous one, also nice S rank, 99.38%. Absolutely insane score from Swick, only the 1x slider break. If Swick is able to consolidate on this next pick, like we saw him able to do on the previous one, then he will be at match point, and this is still a loser's bracket match, so at the end of the day, one of these two players will be exiting the tournament here in the semifinal stage. One of these two players will be moving forward into the final stage in the loser's bracket. It's going to be Hard Rock 3 here. Smooth Criminal. This is our ultra precision pick. Also worth mentioning that both of these players got to this second match of the semifinals losers bracket off of FFs. Neither of these two players have played a match in the semifinals yet until they met each other here. PikaPwn getting an FF from TS Fury. I believe that was just unfortunate, could not show up. And then Swick getting the FF from JP, You're Cute. I believe just had a bunch of other stuff going. I believe it's his birthday as well, so had to cut him some slack, but there's been a lot of FFs this tournament so far. Hopefully we don't see any more, but right now, we've got the Hard Rock 3 on our hands. Let's see a 7.4. Depending on how this one goes for PikaPwn, the options of picking into something like the Hard Rock 2, which is a different style of map, it's still going to be precision, and he does good on this. See him doing pretty well on that Hard Rock 2, but in that first KI section here, and Swick is not okay here. Maybe Swick first of all, but PikaPwn will trade it out. Just a very slight score advantage for PikaPwn here after this first KI section, but that miss is going to swing that score back over the way of Swick. This is again another long map. Swick looking to consolidate on a second breakpoint that was given to him off the Nomon 5 pick from PikaPwn. He'll be doing it off of a full combo, but right now it's looking pretty solid for him. 20,000 points halfway through the map. Into the second KI section. No trip-ups just yet from either player, but these sliders are particularly nasty. PikaPwn's going to be finding a next miss. It's going to give Swick that much more room to work with here, that much more score to work with, but he ends up trading that out shortly after. A little bit unfortunate for him, but I get into the solo section here shortly after. It's going to be PikaPwn holding on to that combo lead, but PikaPwn ends up dropping that combo right before the solo section, and that's going to put a stop to that score that was going the way of PikaPwn, but now it's going to be Swick finding a miss of his own. No trades to happen from PikaPwn, so that is an opening once again for PikaPwn. Get this score lead back his way. PikaPwn finds a chain miss here in the last KI section. No trades from Swick to be seen just yet. That's looking worse and worse for PikaPwn. PikaPwn finding more misses. Swick finally ends up trading, but is it going to be too little too late? I'm not sure. Just less than a third of the map remaining. Quarter of the map, excuse me. 53,000 points. Might be doable. Swick going to be finding a miss. PikaPwn holding onto his combo. He has to FC the rest of the map. I think he could do it. combo's there, but I don't think the accuracy's there. He's down almost a full percent, and yeah, it's gonna be too much for him to do here. No matter how fast he spins, it just won't be enough, and that's gonna do it. Swick is going to pull this one through here to put us to match point. 6-2 in such a fast manner as well. Both of these players having picked pretty much every single short map that we get to see in this tournament here in the semifinals, but it's going to be the hidden one. Insta answer from PikaPwn. Potentially the last map of this match. Really going to have to lock in from here on out. Cannot give any more points or else PikaPwn is going to be knocked out of this tournament entirely. This one's kind of a mech tech hidden one. A little bit of mech elements in it. A little bit of tech elements in it. Pretty consistency heavy. There's a lot of these weird slider streams in it that are pretty easy to slider break on, but we'll see how these players fare. The map kind of just gets right into it. Only about 100 combo of intro. A lot of these little wiggles. Very important for these players to aim them properly or else they will find chain misses, but right now, pretty solid are both players. The real difficulty of this map comes up in the PI section. The spacing starts to get that much bigger. The patterns start to get that much more difficult. Still holding on to combo is quick. PikaPwn was holding on to combo until just now. It ends up dropping first here in this PI. Like is still holding so solid on this hidden one, and this is looking really bad this early on for PikaPwn. Swick holds through the first PI section. One of the most difficult patterns of this map. This could get out of control really quickly. We're going to need to see some massive drops from Swick if PikaPwn wants a chance to get back into this. PikaPwn finding yet another miss is not helping his cause. He has to lock in for the rest of this map. He has to hope for a complete fall apart from Swick, but right now Swick is just not doing that. Swick is looking so calm, collected, and locked in here on this map. Potentially be the final map of PikaPwn's tournament experience here in NAT. Swick is still just hitting these patterns like they're nothing. PikaPwn struggling like any normal person would, but Swick is just finally going to be falling after doing so much damage on this hidden one pick, and it almost feels like it's too much for PikaPwn to get back. There's not any combo built up for PikaPwn. These trades are still continuing to happen for these players, and yeah, just not going to be doing too much in favor of PikaPwn. I do think it's safe to say that this is going to be the final nail in the coffin for PikaPwn, and this is going to be PikaPwn exiting the tournament at the hands of Swick, at the hands of some insane scores at that. Most certainly not going to be getting a comeback here from PikaPwn. Very unfortunate for him, but ultimately, at the end of the day, somebody was going to have to exit this tournament. Or PikaPwn, that's going to be him. And that's also going to be it for us tonight, I believe. No, excuse me. There's still one more match tonight. Completely lied. That's gonna be between Boshiman and Zemby at 2 UTC. Or no, that's on Monday. No, that's the last match for tonight. I am completely misreading things. The final match are gonna be happening tomorrow. Decatan versus Godskin Noble. I believe that is in the winners bracket. And then Zimby versus Bashiman in the losers bracket to decide who makes it into the losers finals to face off against Flames Tear. So pretty cool matchups here for the rest of this tournament. Definitely come back around tomorrow, but as for this one, that's going to do it for us. Congratulations to Swick on the victory. Thank you so much to PikaPwn for playing throughout this tournament, and thank you to Rob for the stream, and that's going to do it. 5 minutes pitching. Thanks for watching, guys.